Good evening. It's interesting. I feel like anything of use that I had to offer, that I have to offer, on the one hand, I feel like I've said it because the path itself is fairly straightforward, fairly simple. It's not a complex, conceptual map. It's not really a lot to know. It's not really about concepts. Yeah, so it's like there's not really, in terms of talking, in terms of speaking, it's really just to offer encouragement. I don't even know if that's I'm not even sure it's that noble what I'm doing. It's more just, sharing the basics, which are very straightforward. Little tiny tweaks, little pointers. Can share about the ways that you have done it wrong. It really, the path is simple. It's our humanity that's complex. And so it's like, I think that's what we share, we offer another person is our humanity. Because the transcendent, the divinity within us is not, that's, you're talking about something that is non conceptual, non verbal. Concepts, words arise within the truth, are comprised of, made out of the truth. yeah, so I'm just kind of, yeah, so it's really our humanity that we share, we have to offer. Our foibles, our failures, mistakes. You know, Ram Dass. Yeah, here's something I might want. I might want to. Here's something that I could talk about. Um, he yeah, it's funny how often he comes up when I talk. It's just, I guess, been an influence on some levels, but I haven't, other than since I've started doing these videos and have kind of gone back and looked at a few things, a few of his. He's got so much material online on YouTube. But I mean, it's been, I don't know, a decade or many, many years since it was really something that I was listening to a lot. But he's got this idea of, yeah, I just, I see so many worthwhile, kind of the wisdom and so much, so much of how he shared and how he oriented and moved and taught and offered. I can just see a lot of the wisdom in how he approached it. You know, he was very, more so than I think is right for me to be, but one thing I loved is how self-disclosing he was. He was very open about his humanity, his foibles, his flaws, his neurotic tendencies, and just the kind of inherent humor of the human predicament. And the permission that that gives for the listener to be human also. There's a freedom in that. I think it can help to avoid like a power imbalance or a guru type of situation. Or, yeah, like a totalitarian worship dynamic. Though, yeah, not perfectly. And not everything about those dynamics is negative either. You know, I think there's a but anyways, yeah, I think about stuff that he talked about. He talked about like he all he wanted to do, the way he expresses something like, all I wanted to do was get high, transcend, be divine, be the radiant divine guru, share that divinity. That would be the appeal of what I had to offer. This is definitely not how he expressed it. It's just how I'm remembering it. He said, but I kept getting these letters from people that would say, thank you so much for your humanity. Oh, I just so appreciate how human you were at that talk. I just so appreciate how down to earth and human you are, and you share your weaknesses and your vulnerabilities. And he said that was the thing he was trying to, kill off, to get rid of, to transcend, to transform. Now I also have this notion, and I think he's even said as much, that I think he sort of embellishes stories sometimes. Um, Maybe adds in a character or two that didn't exactly exist to better make his point. So yeah, so I don't know how much of that is 100% accurate, but it it fundamentally, the dynamics, the kind of message of it, the energy of it is definitely true. Um, yeah, and so he had this couple concepts that I want that are coming up for me. He talked about, like, he viewed his meetings, and you could say satsangs or meetings, get-togethers, happenings. Seems like a very 1960s word. Um, as like gatherings of the Explorers Guild. Is that the word he used? Something like that. Gathering, you have all these kind of, especially I think more in centuries past, maybe like 1800s, 1900s kind of a thing. You had these like explorers guilds, explorers associations, when so much of the world was still kind of uncharted territory, or even if it was charted. So, what's the term? Terra incognita, uncharted territory, unknown land. But there's still so much to be discovered about, especially from, like a European Western lens. There's just this kind of archetype of the explorer. I think it kind of, maybe, I'm just speculating, but maybe morphed out of the naturalist, like a Charles Darwin type of person. There was that kind of, maybe Victorian England, am I getting that right? Figure of the naturalist, somebody who went around and cataloged and wrote detailed notes and took samples and made drawings of different botanical specimens around the world, and I don't know, did that morph into the anthropologist? Yeah, there's just kind of this, I guess in a sense it's part of the scientific endeavor of wanting to categorize and wanting to explore and discover, kind of the era of expeditions to Antarctica, expeditions to, through the Arctic, looking for new passageways through the Arctic, or, exploring the jungles, exploring, the deep heart of Africa, all that kind of thing. Yeah, and so you had these societies of explorers that would get together and share notes. And I could be way wrong about this. It's just kind of roughly sketched out in my mind. But that they would get together and share notes at some point, when photography became more widely available, more affordable, get together and share images, notes, pictures, stories, artifacts, etc. And so Ram Dass was using that as a metaphor, how he saw his gatherings. It's like we're just getting together to compare notes about what the path has been like, about what we've discovered. And this idea of, like, yeah, if you're ahead of somebody, walking ahead of somebody on the path, you come around a bend and there's a big drop off, or there's a dangerous animal, or there's, a big pothole or a flood, or, whatever, that you can share that information. Other people, we can learn vicariously from each other, so that we don't, unnecessarily imperil ourselves. We can learn from each other's knowledge and from our mistakes and from the dangers, potential pitfalls, etc. And yeah, it's an interesting way to frame it, that we're kind of just sharing notes. I don't know that that is exactly, I don't think that was a conscious thing that was happening when I was thinking of the name for this channel. But it's definitely in line with how I feel about it. It may have been there somewhere. Resonates for me, that idea. He also has that line, we're all just walking each other home. And that's another good one. We're all just kind of stumbling through the dark in some sense. Or, supporting each other, walking each other home to who you are, to where you are, you, to who you are. Yeah, so notes from the path. Is that what the channel is called? Notes from the path, I think. It's not papal bowls from the path. It's not eternal decrees from the path. It's not ironclad divine mandates from the path. No, it's notes. It's notes from the path. Just notes. Yeah, it just feels a little bit easier. A little bit less intimidating, a little bit less. Yeah, it just feels easier. I thought when I had that idea come to me, just kind of obvious. Notes from the path, notes from thee, just that beginning, those three first words, brings to mind obvious connection with that Dostoevsky, Fyodor Dostoevsky. He has a book called Notes from the Underground. I read it at one point a long time ago. And actually, yeah, and when I thought of that, I had the idea come up, notes from the inner ground. INNER, notes from the inner ground. I thought that would be a title. And an obvious kind of echo of Notes from the Underground. But I didn't really like that book, I don't think. Yeah, I just didn't really want to associate it with that. I think I felt sort of like intellectually inflated or something. When I read that, it felt like I was a very intellectual, smart person to be reading Dostoevsky. But I don't remember really enjoying it. I think it was pretty heavy. I think maybe my consciousness was pretty heavy. It's hard to sometimes separate how much was what I was projecting. But yeah, anyways, it's still kind of a clever, if nothing else, and kind of a cool title, Notes from the Inner Ground. Also, there's this guy, Matthew Pallett, who does videos, has a YouTube channel, and has a website called Kundalini Diaries. And that has a similar kind of flavor. So that might have been an influence. Probably was. Well, it might have been, I don't know. But has that same kind of a feel. It's not like Kundalini scriptures or something. Kundalini, eternal decrees. So yeah, the Warriors are playing right now. Golden State Warriors. But the goddamn league pass only allows for like every other game, if you're lucky, every third game to be watched live. You pay a fair sum, and you do get a lot of content. But man, it's frustrating. It's like you pay all this money to watch your team, and then it's either blacked out and they're playing a team that's not available for you to watch in your market, or they play late at night if they're on the West Coast, or they're being broadcast on some other channel, some other platform. Anyways, so yeah, I just thought I might record a video. Yeah, and Craig Holiday, probably the bigger influence of all those. Yeah, it's not like it's his trademark saying so many people talk about the path, but he says that phrase a lot. I'm trying to think how he would say stuff like, yeah, or just start a sentence like, on the path, wild things will happen. You know, when you're exploring the path, when you first get on the path, you know, if you've been on the path for a while, so that's kind of an influence too, I guess. Anyways, beautiful day today. Low wind, lots of sun. I feel like I want to say more, but I'm not sure if there's anything else to say. Peace, may peace be with you. May peace be with you. Peace, peace, peace. God, grant us peace. Mighty, heavenly, eternal, Creator, King, God, guide us, protect us, keep us safe. Guide us, protect us, keep us safe. May it be so, may it be so, may it be ever so. Amen, amen, amen. May it be ever so, amen.